Sounds good.
Welcome, everybody, to our mid-month mastermind session. My name is Nancy Gaskins, and I am your host. Olivia Vo is our co-host here, and we have a very special guest with us today. I just met Nkiru a couple of weeks ago, was so excited, and I can't wait for her to tell us about an event that she has coming up. But she has agreed to come on and be our featured speaker today. So without further ado, I'm going to give her a little introduction. She's an online marketing strategist, international speaker, and workshop facilitator with a background as an award-winning journalist, social enterprise founder, and TV producer. She's the founder of Women Building Authority, which provides digital products, high-value events, and upcoming membership offers, training, coaches, business building opportunities. Basically, the sky's the limit for her. Her mission is to take female coaches, consultants, and expert service providers from best kept secret to visible authority. In addition, she represents Rethink Press, a top UK hybrid publisher, as their commissioning editor for North America and Africa, supporting entrepreneurs to plan, write, and publish their books. So welcome, welcome. Come on down.
Come on down. Is there a prize at the end?
You know there is. There's always a prize here.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Nancy. And thanks so much, everyone here on the call and whoever's listening after the call. Thanks for the introduction. You know, every time I'm introduced and I hear my bio, I'm like, who is that fabulous person? Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. And so I'm going to be talking about three things you can do, three steps you can take today to position yourself as an authority online. So why does authority matter, right? So authority matters because it raises your profile, it raises your visibility. So you start attracting further opportunities to grow your visibility. It matters because it helps carry your message. It makes your brand more recognizable, it gives you a seat at the table, I guess it would be a way to put it, and it helps differentiate you from the pack. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Frank Kern, who's a pretty big online marketing sort of legend guy. And he said something which I always repeat, I think is important. He said, most importantly, positioning yourself as an authority is the single most important thing you can do to increase your perceived value to the marketplace. So positioning yourself as an authority is the single most important thing you can do to increase your perceived value to the marketplace. So what does it mean to increase? If you're increasing your perceived value in your market, that means you can attract higher level customers, right? It means you can charge higher fees. It means you can attract higher level talent to work with you. So it's something that, you know, all of us should be trying to do. And sometimes people say, okay, what's the difference between, you know, I consider myself an expert in whatever field I'm in. What's the difference between an authority and an expert? So I would say that an authority is, you know, taking your expertise, but adding influence, credibility, and visibility. So it's an authority is someone who's transformed their expertise into influence. Right? So you're an expert means you know your stuff. You know, you know a whole bunch, you know a lot about your subject matter. But if you're an authority, then you're known for what you know, right? So there's a difference. There's a big difference there. So what are the three steps that you can take today? So there's, you know, lots of different things you can do to establish your authority, but these are sort of three simple things that you can start putting into place immediately to start growing your authority. So the first would be just narrowing your niche. The second would be clarifying your message. And the third is sharing what you know. Okay. So looking at the first one, narrowing your niche. You're all seasoned entrepreneurs. You all, understand the concept of niching down or niching down, whichever one you say. I say niche. But the way it ties in with authority is that when you get really clear about who you really want to serve, who's best placed to receive what you have to offer, it makes it a lot easier for you to establish yourself as an authority in that space. So it's way beyond just, picking a target market or creating your customer avatar. So if your target market, maybe you've decided your target market is, I don't know, small business owners, but obviously you're trying to go to what kind of industry. If you're a dating coach, and you're giving people relationship advice, that's a niche. But if you want to really narrow it, then you could be looking at what phase of a relationship, right? Because there's a difference between a newlywed and a about to be divorced or a divorced, right? If you're a fitness coach, you're not just a fitness coach for, I don't know, women. Say you're a fitness coach for women of a certain age, or maybe new mothers who want to lose the last 10 pounds, or maybe busy executives who don't have time to work out on the road. So the more you narrow your niche, the easier it will be to put out very specific content to that very specific market and show your authority and establish your authority in that space. A lot of the times we're just kind of like putting stuff out, you're just like posting online and almost shouting because it's so crowded online. But there's a guy called Taki Moore, who's he calls himself the $1 million coach, but there's something he says that I love. And he says, instead of sort of shouting and in all directions, hoping that someone hears you, what you've got to do is whisper in the ears of your perfect people, right? So when you're really specialized, you're better able to personalize your message. You're better able to speak to those perfect people. And you're better able to position yourself in a way that will be more attractive to them, because then you can play up the things that you need to play up. Right. So if you're clear on your niche, then you can start thinking, okay, what are the aspects of, myself, of my personality, of my services that I should spotlight to make myself more attractive to my market? And it could be something as simple as, I don't know, if the people in your niche are gardeners, show yourself gardening. If the people in your niche are mothers, show yourself with your kids. I mean, these things, they sound basic, but they can be really, powerful. So think about how you're positioned, excuse me, how you want to be positioned to your market, because it affects everything. It affects the way you speak to them and the way you communicate with them and the way that they receive you. And that takes us to the second step. Sorry, I need to just grab a sip of water. Okay, so that takes us to the second of the three things, which is clarifying your message. So what I mean by that essentially is, how to create messaging that makes people want to buy what you're selling. Okay, so the first thing, so being clear, making sure your messaging is aligned with your positioning, making sure your messaging is aligned with, the people that you want to serve. Because sometimes the reason a lot of people's marketing doesn't get the results that they hope, it's not really a marketing problem, it's more of a messaging problem. That there's like a misalignment between what they're putting out and the people that they're supposedly trying to reach, or else they're not keeping the messaging like really targeted. So you're talking about like 10 different things, instead of just targeting completely to that person, to the niche you've narrowed to. Okay, so you got to make sure your message is aligned with your market. Really, that's the number one thing. The second thing is, trying to identify and articulate some kind of USP. Sometimes people put out a USP that they think is unique, but it's not adding any value. It's like it's not making any difference to the client's life. The only reason to talk about a USP is if it actually makes your client or your customer's life easier in some way, if it's going to do something, is there something about your USP that shows that it's going to make their life easier, or they're going to do their job faster, or it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be more effective. It's going to be something that matters to your customer. Essentially, it's not just, we're unique because we've been in business for 20 years. Like, how does that help me? That doesn't like mean anything to me. So your whatever you're promoting as your unique selling proposition has got to be something that I would care about and that would impact my life. So your USP is more about your customer, as with all your messaging, than it is about you, right? And one thing I always tell people is also think about how you can reframe your messaging, so that you're not just, I'm selling this, I'm promoting that, this is what I do. You're not just selling services, right? You are a problem solver. So position yourself, reframe your messaging to position you as a problem solver. You're a problem solver. You have some kind of transformational message. There's something you do that takes people from a particular point to a better point. There's something you're doing with your whatever it is whatever it is you're selling, that's taking people, that's going to help people change and improve their life or their business. So you are a problem solver. And when you make your messaging, when you create messaging that positions you as a problem solver, then you're really showing people that there's a cost to not doing business with you, right? So it puts you in a much more powerful position. So a few quick things, because messaging is like a topic that can go on like forever, but so a few sort of quick things that you can think about to improve your messaging or to clarify your messaging. I think the first thing is just, what is your big idea, right? Because that's like the heart of your pitch. So what is the big idea of what you do? I mean, yes, maybe you sell, X kind of consulting, but what is the big idea behind it? Like, what is the why? What is the purpose? What you want to be known for, right? The second thing is consistency. Take a little bit of time and scan all the places that you put out messaging, your social media, your websites, your emails, your promo materials. Scan it for consistency. Make sure the way you talk about your brand and the way you're presenting it is consistent, because a lot of the times we don't even realize that we're just kind of putting out lots of different things, and it becomes confusing to your market. Being targeted, we've talked about that before. And then the big thing, which will come down to your copy, which you have to show in your copy, in the words you use to sell, would be making sure that you're using your audience words, right? Making sure that you're expressing your audience's needs and problems in a way that they would express it. Because a lot of the times we're so kind of like in love with our own stuff, and we come up with some cool name for whatever it is that we're doing, and we just think everybody's going to get it, and actually they don't really get it. I remember, I always tell the story, I was teaching in this in someone's coaching mastermind on messaging, and there was a lady there who she was like a spiritual coach, and her whole thing was about tapping into your ancestors, being able to like improve your life by tapping into your ancestors and having them guide you. I mean, I couldn't quite understand it all, but she was very passionate about it. She'd worked with a couple of people. She said she had good results, but she was sort of struggling to sell. So when she talked about the way she was marketing herself, I was like, look, here's the problem. There's like literally nobody like anywhere right now who's going to bed thinking, oh God, if I could just tap into my ancestors right now, if I could just tap ancestral source right now, everything. There's nobody's thinking that. Nobody uses those words. right? But if you tweak the messaging and you talk about, are you feeling lost? Are you feeling spiritually lost? Do you feel, you're not being served in church or wherever else you're going? Or then all of a sudden you go from a market of essentially zero to a market of millions, right? So you got to make sure you're using your audience's words and you're not just kind of using your own, language and thinking that everybody gets it. The other thing with messaging, which I'm sure you've heard a million times before, is you're talking about the results, right? You're selling the benefits and not just the features. And everybody knows that, and everybody thinks they're doing it, but then you look at their copy and they're not really doing it, right? So you're selling experiences, not widgets. So make sure if you're selling, if you're a financial planner, you're not selling insurance policies and IRAs. You're selling the freedom of retiring in your 50s. Are you selling real estate, or are you selling the feeling a family has when they find their dream home where they're going to celebrate birthdays and holidays and raise their children, right? You got to focus on the emotional benefits and not just the functional benefits of whatever you're selling. And the third and final way to position yourself as an authority online is essentially just sharing what giving value anywhere you can. If you remember the movie in the 80s, Glenn Ross, that was the line about always be closing. So what I say is always be teaching. Even if your business is brand new, you can still be that teacher to your audience. You can go to sites like Quora or Reddit or Facebook groups and look at the types of questions that your target market has and just start answering questions. There's few things are more powerful for positioning your authority than being able to answer people's questions, right? Help people make complicated topics easy to understand. That, confers a lot of authority on you. Curate content. The content doesn't always have to come from you. Nobody has time. Everybody's busy. There's so much online. So if you're somebody who I can go to, and I know that you're a trusted resource for telling me like what's going on in the industry or what's new with, whatever it is I care about, I'm not bothered whether it's your content. I would look at you as an authority, because you are curating content that's useful to me, right? So you don't have to be, sometimes people hold back from, sharing and teaching and stuff because they feel like, oh, I'm not a guru, or, I don't know enough. I haven't been in the field enough. You don't need to be a guru. I mean, if you're a guru, great. I mean, fantastic, but you don't need to be the guru. You can just be the guide. You can be the guide showing people the way, and you can be sharing as you're learning too. That's very attractive to people. That's very compelling. If you say, look, I don't know everything about this thing, but I'm doing it. I'm figuring it out, and as I'm figuring it out, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to let you know, what I find or what my mistakes are. That's useful to people. That's valuable to people, and it does establish your authority to the people who you are, sharing it with, and then leverage other people's platforms. You don't have to have a huge audience. You don't have to have a big community. Like I'm here now on Nancy's platform, right? So leverage other people's platforms. So whether it's speaking to a group like this, whether it's, sharing, getting on a blog as a guest blog, whether it's being, writing on Medium, whether it's being a guest on podcasts, which is a fantastic way, whether it's teaching in a Facebook group. There's so many opportunities out there to just share what you know. You don't have to have, 10,000 people on your email list or any such thing, right? Yeah, so those are essentially the three ways that I think are critical for you to be able to position yourself as an authority. So one, narrowing your niche, whispering in the ears of those perfect people. Two, getting clear on your message, making sure that you are speaking language that your audience understands, making sure you're consistent, making sure you're sharing your big idea, your why. And then three, giving value, sharing what you know, being the guide or the reporter, or, answering questions and leveraging other people's networks to give value. And finally, you can't be an authority if you're not visible, right? So the things I've talked about, they will grow your authority and they'll grow your visibility. Visibility obviously is key, but it's becoming harder and harder, right, to stand out, especially online. It's like the entire world woke up and realized there was this thing called the internet since the pandemic, and that realized that they need to be doing they need to figure out how to do business online. So it's become so noisy and so competitive. And that's what led me to create an event, which the one that Nancy mentioned, called the Standout Online Experience, which I'd love to invite you all to. And it's September 29th to October 1st. Nancy is one of the featured brilliant speakers. And you'll get to hear from, different experts on things like, you learn what's working now in areas like, whether it's websites or podcasts or PR, publishing, JVs, all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be amazing. And Nancy will share her link, so you can grab your free ticket. And yeah, even though we are Women Building Authority, the event is open to men. You're very, very welcome. So yes, I hope to see some of you there, and happy to answer any questions or about what I've shared.
I've got a question. You were talking under the clarification, you mentioned USP. What's USP?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, unique selling proposition, USP. So what the sort of unique thing is about you that would make people want to buy your product. And the point I was making, sometimes people will create their USP around something like, I think the example I gave was, we've been in business for 30 years. Well, depending on what the kind of company it is, that could actually turn me off. I might think you're not current. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the industry, right? But the key thing is, if you're thinking about, okay, what is my unique selling proposition? What is that unique thing about me? Actually, what I usually say to people is start with you. A lot of the time, I mean, there's nothing more unique than you, right? So when it comes to your marketing and your messaging and putting yourself out there online, the more you can be you, show you, like, you don't have to be doing any crazy stuff like dancing on, doing any like thing like that, but, sharing your insights, sharing your perspectives, not being afraid to take a stand, like use your voice. That's like the most unique thing about you, and that can be your USP, your unique selling proposition.
Thank you.
Sure.
Loved it. Wonderful, wonderful content. And yesterday I sent out on our calendar of events, and I shared with our listeners, there's several people on your lineup that we all know: Dr. Venus Ramos, myself, Jill Loveland, Jackie Zaccoli, so there's several people that's in our tribe that we're, I was excited to see that fabulous lineup, and I did send the link out, and we'll be sharing that on social media. So if you don't mind, share with us how you got started, your entrepreneurial journey. I always love to hear people's story and how they got involved.
And hope you have some time, Nancy.
We do. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of older than I look. I'm told. So yeah. So my journey started a while ago. I guess the first sort of business that I was started was back home in Nigeria. I'm actually Nigerian, but I'm in Canada right now. I'm in Toronto right now. I also grew up in the UK, also lived and worked in the States, but I'm Nigerian. And the first business I started was in Nigeria with my brother. We got we got the rights to produce some international TV formats. So like really not exactly highbrow stuff like The Apprentice and Big Brother, Dragon's Den, but it was an amazing experience. So we were doing these big TV productions, and from that, I mean, I've always been in something to do with content, marketing, media. I was a journalist, so that's I've just always been in that world. I had a social enterprise that worked with creative and digital entrepreneurs. We trained more than 1,700 creative and digital entrepreneurs on like business skills and soft skills. I've had a sandwich cafe a friend and I created as like a side hustle until we realized that this could not work as a side hustle. But we had a hip hop themed sandwich cafe called Rap City. I hope you get it, Rap City. Anyway, so I've done strategic comms. I was part of a strategic comms like PR, strategic comms, integrated marketing advisory firm. And then when I moved to Canada about 4 years ago, because I'm basically unemployable because I've been on my own I've sort of been doing business stuff for the last, I don't know, since 2003. So that was just, I couldn't fathom working for anyone. So I got into the online space first through copywriting. I discovered I've always written. Everything I've done has always involved writing in some way. And I discovered copywriting and conversion copywriting, right? So really helping you sell online. And so I was doing that. I still do that to some extent. And then during the pandemic, I started coaching women on building their brand authority. And I came at it from the angle of, figuring out your voice, figuring out your audience, getting clear on your message, creating a signature framework that you could use to sell yourself. And I've now growing that into a brand called Women Building Authority. And we have this summit at the end of the month, and we will be launching an online membership that's basically all around supporting female coaches, consultants, and service providers to develop, market, and monetize their online brand. So that's kind of a very short way of saying how I.
Well, I love,
you've
got all that, background in different countries. And so you're able to, really help, and understand a whole lot of different nuances that some would not.
Yeah.
What about this commissioning editor?
Yes.
The book publishing.
Yes, absolutely. So I started that, I think January this year. Essentially, I met the founder, one of the founders, Lucy Makara, of the company called Rethink Press. They're a top hybrid publisher in the UK. And she's a very well-known, probably the most established book mentor in the UK and the founder of the UK's Business Book Awards. So I had actually joined her program to start because I wanted to write a book, and she had a coaching program, which I joined. And then I sort of got chatting to her, and I was like, I think that I know people back home and people here, because they're UK based and they have quite a base in Australia as well. And I was like, I think I know people who might be interested in your services. And then we got talking, and then she was like, why not actually come on board a bit more formally as a commissioning editor. So essentially, I'm like the point of contact for anyone in North America or in Africa who is interested in their services. And we help entrepreneurs plan and write their books. And we do that we have a coaching program called Book Builder, which the next cohort starts in middle of October. And essentially you work with normally about 25 other entrepreneurs, from around the world. And we take you through our proprietary process to plan and write your book. And you can actually plan and write your book in 90 days. You don't have to do it in 90 days, but it's structured so that you can. We're also publishing. We are publishers, so we also publish the book. And then we also have people who don't want to write the book, or they just don't have the time or the bandwidth. And so then we pair them with one of our ghostwriters, and we write the book for you. But it's your book completely. But we pair you with a ghostwriter, and we write the book for you and publish the book for you. Yeah.
Would love for you to share that link with us as well. And we'll get that out to promote, because one of the events that we're wanting to do is Meet the Author Virtual Marketplace, where we can have an event every 90 days where we have published authors. So what we want this to be is a feeding place for publishing houses where you can send your new authors, and we can showcase them every 90 days. And then we just have a worldwide audience come in and sit down with them and meet and greet and talk, and they can get some feedback and share some stuff, and obviously sell their books. So that would be
awesome.
Something definitely that we
when is that happening?
We haven't set a date. We were thinking October, but October is almost here, and we had some other things kind of get in the way. So I'll get back with you on that, but we want to do it before Christmas, to kind of help with that rush. And then if we don't get it done this last quarter, then we definitely will set it up just on a regular basis beginning in the new year, which may be what we, need to do depending on how many people we have. We're going to start it out on Zoom. We are looking at some different platforms, but because everybody is so familiar with Zoom, that we're going to start it there. But we've got some really big plans for that, and we want it to be a world-class event. So anyways.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I will send you I'll send you a link to like a lead magnet that sort of talks people through the publishing pathway. It will take me a little bit to dig it up, so I'll send it to you after the call.
Okay,
Nancy,
no problem.
Share that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Do you have any questions?
Hey,
go ahead, Olivia.
Thank you so much for sharing, this wonderful content today. And I was hoping you could share with us also, do you have a success ritual that you abide by?
A success ritual? Wow, that's a cool question. Now, of course, I wish I did, because then that would have been a cool answer. But I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, can I make something up really quickly?
Well, you've accomplished so much, right? And I admired that, being able to dip your toes into so many different ventures. So I wonder, how do you get yourself up to that level?
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I actually, it's funny that you say, that I'm doing so many different things, because I struggle with that, in the sense that, it can be better to be more single focused, but I think my mind is so, some people say, you need to focus more, but I say it's the curse of the multi-talented. That's the way I answer it, because I don't know how to just do one thing, so yeah, I wish I had some sort of secret. The only thing I say is I do whatever is in my heart to do, to be honest. That's just the way I live my life. Life is short, and whatever I think God has put in my heart for me to do, and whatever opportunity might have come my way, I will try and take it. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But it's all part of life.
Well, I have another question.
Sure.
You said you were born in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we
Yep.
know the state of that country. So how in the
Yes.
world, I'm sure you've got a fantastic biography here or memoirs coming soon. How did you raise yourself up and leave? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you still have ties, or you want to have ties, or
yeah.
something,
Oh,
because most
completely.
people do for your heritage. But tell us a little bit about that, because we do have a lot of people, you know, that I think this story would really resonate with.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, it's not like I was born in Nigeria and then I left. I grew up in Nigeria most of my life still, and I moved back to Nigeria. I moved here from Nigeria. So yes, we are a country that has a lot of challenges, especially now, like any developing country, but it's also a country where there's a lot of opportunity. And, you know, I'll be honest, it's also a country, I mean, I'm privileged, you know, I'm definitely in the more privileged demographic in my country. And I know that it would be ridiculous of me to not acknowledge that. We're still a country that has crippling poverty. We have a, you know, crumbling educational system. We have no welfare kind of net, you know. So I was blessed to be able to, you know, be educated, to be able to not lack any of those basic things. You still have the challenge of, you know, coming from a developing country, you know, that's just, but I mean, I don't, it's not like I fled, you know, no.
Yeah. And Nkiru, I used to work in higher ed at a graduate office at top engineering school, and we had a lot of Nigerian students.
I'm sure.
And I found them to be kind, committed, detailed. You know, many of them had second jobs, and all the money they made went back home. You know, and some of them were only eating once a week because sending the money back home was more important than you know, than that. And so it's the mindset of family and community.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I loved being able to help them when they would come in, you know, for their
Oh, that's great.
and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was just a blessed experience for me to be able to see the gratitude and the drive to want to be in, you know, when you're coming from that impoverished level, to rise up knowing that you can succeed. And that's another thing. I think all the Nigerians I've met have had that commitment of knowing that they have the ability to succeed.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm very glad you said that. We're very entrepreneurial. I mean, even you could never find a Nigerian that only does one thing. It's just not even. It's impossible. Always trying to do different things, and we prize education extremely highly. People will sacrifice
much.
Yes, in ways that that you don't see in the West. People will sacrifice to educate their children, and their children are not going to mess up in school. Like the concept of messing up in school is just not there.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Anybody else? No other questions? Melissa, you kind of got in here a few minutes late. Sorry about that, about the link. We're so happy to have you. Do you have any messages?
No, I loved everything that you said. I kind of came in where you were talking about don't sell, solve, you know, share the problem that you're solving. You're a problem solver. I've been working on my content lately, so it was just really great timing to kind of reaffirm what I've been working on with
Awesome.
my story, etc. So
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Great.
that. And I've actually been to Nigeria, albeit it was
Oh my God.
I was only in transit, and it was back in 1990, and I was on a flight from Harare. And
Okay.
we went from Harare up to Nigeria, then to Malta, then over to Belgrade, which had no power, and the
Wow.
airport was being run on generators, and then into London. It was the milk run. And they made
Wow.
me get off the plane in Nigeria, and it was the only place in the world where I went into the airport, and the duty-free store had the lights on, but the shelves were completely empty.
Empty. And this was 1990.
Yes, and it was the middle of the
Okay.
night, so I was
Yeah.
surprised that the lights were on because it wasn't open, but they were on, and then the shelves were empty. So I didn't know if they put the stock on the shelves every day during the day, and then they put it
Probably.
away. I don't know. It was
I
just
mean, now
an
you'll
empty
find,
duty-free store.
yeah, but that's cool. That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad you've been. I
But
mean,
yeah, I love
you've
your
been to the
story and
airport
your
anyway.
experience. And I'm in Canada too, so
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm
Where
on
are
the
you?
West Coast. I'm on the
West
West
Coast.
Coast, but I
Okay.
was just in Toronto dropping my daughter at Ryerson.
Oh, nice. That's not far from me. I'm Midtown Toronto. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for sharing today. Like I said, it was
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed
perfect
it.
timing for me.
Good,
Well,
good, good. I'm
One
glad.
of the things that we like to do is when our featured speakers come on, we want to make sure that we're able to implement what they've
Mhm.
taught us that day. So to kind of bring that forward to us, I'd
Mhm.
like to spend a few minutes with the group and reiterate again the niche, clarify message, sharing what you know, and giving value. So let's start with number one, narrowing down our niche. I know for a lot of us, we've been really struggling over the
Mhm.
last year with really, we want to be all things to all people because we think that, oh my goodness, I've got to have this big, huge target market. But the more workshops and classes from experts that we've been hearing about, we want to be able to stand out. And so that is absolutely true that we need to narrow it down so much that, we are the go-to authority for that niche. So
Mhm.
anybody here, would you like to share your niche market, or would you like to put it out there and let us help you walk it through to help you narrow yours down just a little bit more? Anybody?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Melissa.
So I kind of have two, which is why this might be interesting. So I say that my niche market is anybody struggling with gut health issues, but then I also help women struggling with hormones. And it's my secondary niche, but I don't know. I do a lot more than all of that, obviously, but if I were to niche down, do I need to just, again, pick one? And is gut health issues, is that okay? Or is that still too broad? I don't know. I've always kind of wondered.
Well, we can all have multiple niches and multiple messages. It's just depending on the target, the
audience
that you're speaking to at the time, you just pick one.
Right.
And yeah, but
and then make sure that your messaging, when you're targeting those, it goes into that, because that's one of the problems that we have. This week is our elevator pitch practice session. And one of the things that we've been seeing a lot of is you just like so general that nothing sticks. So we can't help you. We're a referral partnership network. So my question would be, Melissa, let's talk about this gut health issues. What does that really mean? Does that mean I'm constipated? Does it mean I got a belly stuck out to here? What does a gut issue mean?
Yeah.
So I usually go on, I say gut health issues such as, and I'll say bloating or gas or pain, or that person that has to plan their social, fun around where the closest bathroom is or something like that.
Okay. And what do you do for them? Are you selling a
I help
product?
them. No, I'm an integrative health practitioner. So I help them get to the root cause of, we have to eat 3 times a day. It's not fun if it's painful, right? So I help them get to the root cause of what's going on inside their gut it's obviously imbalanced. So figure out what that is and then help bring it back into balance, and it will heal itself. So it could be bacterial overgrowth, it could be yeast overgrowth, it could be low stomach acid because of high stress, it could be, toxins in the system. There's, many reasons for it, but I help them discover it versus continue to ignore it and let it get worse, or, take drugs that mask the pain but don't necessarily resolve the situation.
Does
Mhm.
everybody know if they have a gut issue, or is it for sure they have these symptoms?
If they have those symptoms, then yes, it's for sure they have a gut issue that they should address, because if they don't, it will just continue to get worse. So I like to say, listen when your body whispers, so it doesn't have to yell at you. But some people might wait until it's yelling at them before they realize they need to come and see me, versus, you know, somebody else said it to me the other day. They said it's a feather, it's a brick, and it's a semi. And if you don't listen when it's a feather, you're going to get hit by the brick. And if you don't listen when it's a brick, you're going to hit by the semi. That was in a podcast. I thought that was awesome.
I love that.
I like that. Yeah.
I like I mean, you might actually flip it around and stuff, saying, do you experience this bloating, gas, or whatever?
Mhm.
That means you have,
Might be a sign of.
that's a sign
Right.
of, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if there's a particular condition that
Mhm.
either most of your clients have, or a condition that is the most lucrative for you to target,
Mhm.
then you could lead with that. I mean, I had a client a couple of years ago that I did some copy work for, and his specialty was GERD.
Mhm.
And that was what, I mean, he could treat any kind of gut
Mhm.
issue, but everything was around GERD, because that was like what he'd identified as his key sort of thing. And I think if people have GERD or GERD, I don't even know which way you say it, it's not like they don't, I mean, it's like severe enough that they kind of know. So it's not, you're not dealing with, oh, do I really have this? It's like someone is, they have a clear pain point.
Right.
That's a really good point and stuff. I mean, if there's most of your clients having a particular issue, maybe that's what you would want to.
I think I need to go with symptoms though, because so much of what my clients struggle with, they're not getting diagnosed in mainstream medical, and they're just being told it's all in your head, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and even when people come to me with a diagnosis, I don't really care what that diagnosis is. I want to know what's going on inside the body, not what some doctor told you in 5 minutes of spending time with you. Like, it might be a factor, but I'm going to look at so many other things besides just that, right? So I'm hesitant to put a label on something. But what I have right now in my intro is simply, I help people struggling with digestive issues like heartburn, pain, bloating, gas, get to the root cause of the problem. We eat food 3 times a day for energy. It sucks when it's an uncomfortable experience, and it doesn't have to be. I use functional medicine labs that are mailed to your home to provide a personalized wellness protocol. So that's what I've been doing.
I think that's great.
Yeah,
Fairly
that sounds
new.
good.
That sounds great. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Awesome.
one of the things,
fairly new.
one of the things I was thinking, Melissa, when you were saying that is, if you think of the feather brick semi scenario, it's like, what is your body whispering to you? You know, because for some of those symptoms, it doesn't happen every time. So it's like, is it whispering, you know? And so what I'm trying to say is, okay, like, I have gas, but I don't have it every day, so I can just ignore it.
Right.
But if it's whispering, it's like, what did you do today to cause your body to whisper to you?
Right.
You know, kind of thing. And so I don't know if you want to, you know, if you'd want to narrow down like that to spark their mind to really think, like, maybe there really is something going on, because this happens to me 3 times a week, but I don't know why.
Right.
Versus them just thinking, well, yeah, I have that, but it's no biggie.
Right. Right. No, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
point.
consistent every day. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you definitely should work that feather brick semi into your pitch, because
Okay.
that is such a strong visual
Yeah.
that, and I've not heard it. And, you know, I'm not in any networking groups, right?
Not-
None.
I'll send you this podcast when it comes out. You can hear it from the lady who taught it to me. It's a good one.
I love that. Love that. Love that.
Yeah, I will
I
work on that.
also-
Thank you.
I was gonna say
Okay.
too, Melissa, work on that emotional benefit that Nkiru had mentioned, right? Not just the
Mhm.
functional benefit, but the emotional benefit. Maybe tie that in too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, is that, address the feelings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The enjoyment of food and eating with community and not having to.
Right. What is it costing them emotionally right now?
Yeah.
And what will they gain emotionally when their gut is healthy? Because it's
Mhm.
not just that they'll not have gas, right? They'll be more pleasant to
Be
be
able
around,
to
I guess.
really enjoy meals with friends again, right?
I mean,
Being able to eat out, eat out. and whatnot.
Unless
Yeah.
you're a guy and you're sitting around the campfire, right?
Well, my daughter has really been into the health food. She's a gym rat, so she's taking all these supplements and all kinds of stuff to get ready to compete. And she's got a serious problem with gas, and the kids just make fun of her all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how can you stand that? Oh, okay. She's gonna love that. I'm gonna make sure that she gets that little clip where I out her on.
Yeah,
on-
gee.
on
we
YouTube.
should
On a
appreciate
recording,
that,
yeah.
All
You
right,
think,
let's.
Ma? Yeah, no.
Her name is. All right.
Thank you, everyone. I'll work on tying that in. It's a lot in 1 minute, but I'll
Yeah.
try.
Her second main point was to clarify your message. And again, a lot of times, depending on when we're going into these groups, or even if we are sharing like our posts on our LinkedIn posting parties or articles or whatever it is, even on a podcast, we need to make sure that we are very clear on the message that we want people to receive. And just because I love that she brought up, the words and the verbiage, because sometimes we're in an industry specific thing and our audience may not know those words, especially when you get into the health and wellness industry. I mean, I know I've been into some of these, and one of the things I love about Melissa, I'm going to give you props for that, was when I was going through your detox program, she was able to break that stuff down in such a way. And I love science, and I have some of that in my background, but she broke it down to such easy to understand nuggets, and it wasn't too much. And so there again, when we're clarifying our message, I want to encourage everyone, use bite-sized pieces, because the attention span, especially online, is not very large. So make sure that you're doing that. But depending on your target market, what are you sending, like conflicting messages, or are they like all over the map? And I'll ask you, Nkiru, let's just say you're going to do a social media campaign. Do you have, or even articles or something? Should we group those, or what kind of advice could you give us on to clarifying our message there, maybe?
Well, I think when it comes to doing any kind of, whether it's, your social media, you're putting out an email or whatever, it's, start with the end in mind. Like, what do you, because you're not just randomly posting, or at least you shouldn't be. So what is it that you want this particular message to achieve? If you like keep that in mind, then it forces you to kind of like be more targeted with your messaging, because you're not just randomly putting out, hey, hello world,
Right.
that doesn't help.
Yes.
But a lot of people are doing hello world like all day, every day. And it's like, it's not gonna help you,
That's what I've been hearing so much of lately. This is for Ellie Sheffy is my personal business coach in that. So I've been working with her closely in that. And that's, there was another coach that's along that same line, Maya Camarota. So she had a 5-day event that ended Sunday and that. And she even was saying too, this is everything, you get your through line. What's your end point? You got to keep that in mind. Everything that you present leads to
that point. Yeah.
whatever, if it's a big ticket course or whatever it is, everything that you do leads to that. Every post that you make leads to that.
Yes. Even if it's a lead magnet that you want someone to download. I mean, if you have a lead magnet that's, I don't know, 10 steps to, I don't know what, actualize your full potential. I'm just seeing your background, and then you're posting about, I don't know, so something completely different. And then you're like, oh, by the way, download my lead magnet on actualizing your full potential. There's a complete disconnect,
disconnection there. Yeah. And that's, but also this is, I know Olivia, will appreciate this too, because I've mentioned it before in that, but there's the thinking brain, and then you have the limbic brain, the feeling brain. Everybody makes a buying decision based on their feelings.
Absolutely.
So on a presentation, if you're including a lot of big words that, maybe only specific to your particular industry, on a general audience, so maybe you've got them, you got the feeling and emotional benefits and everything, and then you throw in these big, unusual words. It now takes them from their thinking brain, their feeling brain, to their thinking brain, trying to figure out what the hell does that word mean? Now you've lost them.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go on to the third piece here, which is sharing what you know, giving value. What I would like to do here is just go around the room and give us a couple of examples of what you are doing right now in the marketplace to give value. And Claudio, we're going to start with you.
I'm just basically showing people that there's a better way of keeping your money in the bank. Why earn 1% a year when you could potentially earn 5% a week?
Very
So
good.
it's just very basic.
Okay. Somebody help him on how he can share more and give more value. Everybody knows what Claudio does. He works with Cash FX, which is foreign exchange currency, and helping people earn passive income. So what are some of the things that he might do to bring more value to folks?
One of the things that I think of is finding out what their why is. Because a lot of people, everybody, okay, yeah, I can make money, but what are you going to attach that extra money to? It's the income that drives it's the reason, the why that drives the choice.
Yeah, the lifestyle type of benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree,
Is it for your kids' education? Is it for, the
retirement or
that
that
you've never been able to take? And you've kind of just
maybe
written
that nonprofit you've wanted to start for years, or something that you wanted to fund, or the dream house, or something like that. Good.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
That's a great point.
So how could he do that? Okay, we know he posts on LinkedIn. He's on there. Good. He's on Facebook. He's participating in our posting parties, and he's at all the events. So can you think of something maybe outside the box that he could do to maybe draw more people in?
Are you sharing stories of people who are using Cash FX and have used what they've made to take off something on the list of stuff they wanted to do, whether it's a down payment on a vacation or it's a little thing.
Yeah, when I'm posting, like I posted something on Sunday, for example, I do post some of my own stories. I mean, it was totally unexpected. I'm sitting there bowling in a league, and I get a message saying that somebody on my team is just upgrading, and I made almost $1,700 while I'm bowling. So those little things, I do love to share. That's because it does catch that,
Okay, so
interest.
what I would suggest then, let's get with Mike and some of the other people in Cash FX, and let's come up with some stories. You can't necessarily, I know there's a lot of things that you can't say, but get some stories. I think that would be very powerful. Just like in our newsletter, I posted your story, and I've gotten, believe it or not, a lot of comments back on that story.
Yeah, just saying stuff like, passive income works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
And here's what blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because
All
I
right.
know we're not supposed to post any kind of results or anything like
Yeah,
that, but
no, you can't.
No,
but
no, no, not
you could
results.
say-
Yeah.
You could say something like, I use my passive income, or this is what my plan is for, this is why I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
let them tell their story. And then that would be perfectly fine. But
Yeah,
I think that would be very powerful.
I've posted that, my passive income is now paying for 75% of my monthly bills.
there you go.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
Yep.
Your own
very
personal-
compelling.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Let's
Compelling.
get some more of those.
Yeah.
Let's get some more of those stories. Gary, do you have anything that you'd like to share, or let us help you with that? I see Gary, and most of us do, on LinkedIn. He's got some really great memes and motivational stuff that he posts on a regular basis. What can you tell us, Gary?
Basically what I do is coach people that are looking for a new career. Most of them are people who want to get out of corporate America and want to go into business ownership. So I coach around that business ownership part, the entrepreneurial part. But that's essentially what I do, is coach them to help them reach points of clarity and things like that about what they want to do.
Okay, what can you do on the outside, as far as, and I don't know for sure, because I haven't talked to you about this, what you can and can't do as far as LinkedIn goes on your own personal thing, as far as maybe some articles or some stories and things like that, like we were talking about, Claudia, with people who have worked with you before. And you can even make some stories up, but of what some possibilities are, because going from a job, I'm saying going from a 9 to 5 that you absolutely hate, getting up on Monday morning and you can't wait till Friday, to actually going to work every day into a business that you love and that you have a passion about. I mean, I can see those type stories.
Yeah, I do have people that are writing some recommendations and things like that for me. So that helps. Those little parts help.
I'm even thinking, the podcast, I know you've been on mine, I know you've been on Olivia, get you on some really specific targeted podcast where you could kind of show your expertise off and what that might feel like for some folks. Cause I know, there's people out there that are, I mean, especially right now, they don't want to go back to work. They've realized, and so this is a great time to own and operate your own business, start your own thing, and all of that. Does anybody have any recommendations for Gary? What else he might could do?
Well, even if you don't want to start your own podcast, you could.
I'm just saying, being guest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you could even do something just like an interview series on Zoom. So it's not like you don't have to be doing a whole podcast thing, but do some live coaching. So invite a couple of people who are your target market. So they are, people in corporate America who are thinking about how they can get out and how they can start their own business, and do like a live coaching for like 20 minutes
masterclass type of thing on Facebook Live or something.
Yeah, but actually like showing how, just giving people the experience of what it would be like to be coached by you. So if I'm like, I've been in my job for 20 years or whatever, and I can't figure out how to, I don't know what's out there, I don't know how to get started, and then we just like converse the way you would normally converse with a prospect, except you're now doing it in front of everybody else, and it's just a way to show
I like
the
that.
value you actually bring, and what it's like to work with you, because it's personal, right? Coaching, I mean, you've got to like, especially something like your career, you've got to like vibe with the person to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that I would be able to find clients that would be willing to go on and share that.
They wouldn't have to have their name and be on their camera. You could have it where they have their blurred out, and you could give a fake name, but at the same time would still be able to do that. And even even if you didn't want to, you could do it on Zoom, record it and just use the audio.
And just use the audio. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, you could do, Gary, is instead of thinking of doing it with a new client, do it with an old client, one who's already made the transition, doesn't care, you know, if his boss sees it or anything like that, because that transition has already been made. And, you know, because taking them back to that beginning and just, you know, doing what they were saying could be a great way to do it as well.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
recapping the
brilliant.
journey, where
Yeah,
they started and how they got the,
Because
Yeah.
you do like a step one, and then, you know, it's just a short video. And then you say, you know, 5 years later, he now, you know, owns his own business, yada, yada, yada. This is the outcome starting from this first session.
Mm.
And so they don't get to see all the in between, right? They need to hire you to see all that in between, but they get a feel of how it works. And here's the story. Here's the outcome. Here's what the guy is doing now.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, that would make, I think, a little better sense.
Would be easier.
yeah, you give away what you do and they got to pay you for how.
Good.
All
Okay.
right,
Would
thanks.
you like to share anything?
Oh, I don't, no, not really.
Okay. Let's talk about
Been
sharing
sharing
what,
great wisdom, Kay. Thank you.
yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, she is a wealth of knowledge. So I know you've got a lot of things that you could share as far as like blog post, you know, start a blog and, you know, some different things like that. And again, you're also one of those that you can break it down into simplified speak so that anybody can understand it. And you're very personable. So what would be some things that she could do to share her knowledge? Obviously, like locally, you know, speak to groups and that type of thing to get in front of people locally. What about online? Again, podcast, yes.
Currently, I write an article once a month for a local paper, and I speak at Bob Hope Village every month on a different health topic. So, you know, community-wise, I'm doing those two things.
I have a friend that's just moved there recently. So if you meet her, her name is Vicki McGill, she and her husband. So write that name down and make sure you tell her that you know me. We were AWAG sisters together over in Germany.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Great.
Okay, I just got challenged by my coach to do 1 minute videos, educational videos. And I'm doing them 3 times a week. The first one went yesterday, and then you push it out to various social media challenges. And so it comes back to what Nkiru was saying earlier, just about give, right? And so you could totally do that as well if that was of interest. I'm now trying to figure out if I should be doing it on StreamYard or if I should just be doing it on Zoom and then using repurpose to push it all out to. Now I'm looking at how I can do it and then save time, right? But
You know, StreamYard is really nice because you can design your screen.
That's why I'm looking at
embellishments and stuff, which gives you an edge over all the ones that are just the same. You know, so
yeah, I just like you don't have your virtual background there, which I think they were working on that. So
well, and I wondered if you could program it, because what's easier for me is on my admin day, if I'm doing 3 a week, to just record all 3, boom, 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 and then program it to go out, which I don't know if I can do that.
On StreamYard, you can.
You can.
Yeah, you can. Okay, no, hold on. You can like program going live. I don't know if you can program what you've
Yes, if I pre-recorded 3 in a row and then just pushed it out, then I don't have to each day get that mindset of right.
Yeah,
get with
you might have to use a scheduler, a regular social media scheduler.
Yeah, Groove Digital has their platform. You can schedule, you can record it and then schedule the lives to be broadcast.
Because the other thing that I thought of, because when it comes to digital, I'm always like, okay, basic. Don't make it complicated for me.
Yeah.
But create a private Facebook page where you're the only person in it. When you do StreamYard, you can stream live to Facebook. Facebook has that recording, and then you can just share that to wherever you want and schedule it or whatever.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So
Hmm,
that's another option.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Yes, and you can also, one of the other things I believe with StreamYard, you can stream it to your own YouTube channel and
Mhm.
you make that private. And then from there you can share it.
And I just found out last night in YouTube that you can make something as you bring it in as a draft, you can schedule when it goes public.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, you can.
So that might be an option for you there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of other streaming tools. I'm not familiar with them, but you might check. I know people speak well of them. There's is it restream.io, and then there's Be Live, which I think you can kind of record your live instead of, but you know, you may want to check them out. I haven't tried them. I've only used StreamYard.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was looking at repurpose.io, which
Yeah.
isn't streaming it, but it just allows you to
To repurpose
create
it,
the
right.
workflow so that it goes
Mhm.
where you want it to go.
Right.
But I don't know if that's the best option. If I was thinking StreamYard would work because it pushes it out everywhere, until I realized I really just want to record them on Monday morning and then
Mm.
have to go throughout the week. It's so that I'm in that mindset and I get it done, versus every time I do it, I have to get in that mindset of doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Good question. Bring that up Friday, Melissa, and we'll see.
Well,
if
I
we
know
can get-
Facebook, you can schedule when a
Mhm.
post is
Mhm.
Yeah.
done. So
You could probably just use like a Buffer or Hootsuite or, you know, one of the social media schedulers,
Right.
and just,
So
you know,
pre-record
the
and then-
same way as you would schedule a
Right.
post. I should
Yeah,
think you can
I'd-
schedule of the video too. Yeah.
If I use StreamYard, then I'd have the nice background. I could do Monday mornings that way.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if I could hold the other two back. So I'll have to look into that.
Well, good.
So, yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
time management, you know, we're all want to make sure we're making the most of that. All right,
Mhm.
Bruce, you're up.
also, as I know, some of you may be familiar with Jenna Kutcher. So she's, they refer to it as the JK5. She says you come up with 5 different interests that you share on your different social media platforms. And you're using that to let your audience get to know, like, and trust you. And the really key, so I've identified, you know, several things. So I'm starting to get into that sequencing and stuff of what I do throughout the week and that, and posting it. But the key is to, you lead it at whatever it is you're sharing. At the end, you're tying it into your business.
Mhm.
So this is a week or so, a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was, as I shared on like Fridays is, you know, Flashback Friday for a photo and that. And says I shared a photo of me taking, it was on board a cruise ship, and they had a green screen, and the green screen was this big grizzly bear, you know, up in Alaska about to attack you. So I posed like I was taking a selfie with the bear. But everything, everybody else, they were telling everybody to pretend like you're fighting the bear or scared and running away. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do something different from everybody else. So, you know, so I kind of tied that in at the end and that. And then I think last week, I was holding up in Vancouver, BC, there was what they call the bug museum. I took a picture, I was there and I was holding a tarantula. So it says, you think I was out of my comfort zone? Yeah. So I was tying it to, like, you got to stretch that comfort zone to grow and that. So it says whatever. So that's, I'm posting different things throughout the week, and I'm tying it in at the end. With
And
my
those pictures are something that's going to stop people doing the scroll, you know, because
Yeah.
they're, you know, just like the bear, you know, gosh, wonder what this is. The tarantula. What? Bruce got a tarantula? You know?
Yeah.
I've been
Very
doing
nice.
the same thing. I heard the same training, Bruce, and have been doing the same thing with my paddleboarding and my backcountry camping, etc. And like one of the posts that got the biggest number of hits was, it started out saying technology, you can't live with it, you can't live without it, but it was all pictures of the lake. And
Yeah.
it was the day that I launched my website, and then it crashed.
Oh,
Oh my
And
God.
So frustrated, and I couldn't do anything. And so I just went to the lake, and my message was, at the lake, I realized, you know, it's starting to turn to fall. The world's going on, even though my website's crashed, right? and then when I came home, it had been fixed, right? So it was such a nice thing to leave it behind, go away. I couldn't do anything anyway, and then take that time and came home and it was fixed. And this week I'm doing one. I took photos of through the water, and it's just so clear. And so I'm going to do one on mental clarity, because everyone's running around with fog, right?
yeah.
So the same idea is just time, and those pictures do stop the scroll because they're stunning. So that's a new lesson for me that I've been starting to practice, and it's really effective.
Yeah. And it's like in one of them too, it says I had I made it on Canva. It was something like health goals and airplanes are a lot alike. This is most of the time they're off course.
That's funny.
So
I like that one. I might have to share that one.
yeah.
Have you posted it already?
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
I was trying to find you, but because of course Bruce Barnes is a very common name.
Yeah.
I thought we were connected, but I was just looking and then I couldn't find you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we are.
Yeah. That's one of the other things too that Ellie was sharing with me. It says I was looking for the web domain brucebarnes.com. Well, someone already grabbed it. So I had grabbed brucejbarnes.com. And Ellie was saying, says, okay, that's one of the things that I need to work into my closing signature, is so that whether they're looking for, you know, Third Rock Wellness or Actualize Your Full Potential, but they may remember my name, and they're looking for my name.com. So since I got brucejbarnes.com, I need to put that into my signature.
Introduce yourself like that.
Yeah. So so one of the ways that I'm closing at the end of my posts is, I'm here to help you make small changes that have a big impact in your life so that you can actualize your full potential. So at the beginning of that, I'm going to shift it to say, I'm here, to saying, I'm Bruce J. Barnes, here to help you make, you know, so I just put that little at the beginning in that, but just, just coming up with different ideas, sharing my interests online and that, so that people get to know me a little better, but also, you know, directing, you know, tying it into my business at the end.
And here on Zoom, you can change your name down there, and I would start doing that as well, Bruce.
Yeah, that's what I got thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I've got a friend and her name's Debbie, and she always goes, hi, I'm Debbie with a Y.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you start, even when you introduce yourself, I'm Bruce J, you know, or something, and start getting that in their brain so that they associate that J with you to differentiate.
Yeah, I've never had that problem, because I'm literally the only person on the planet with my name. My last name was actually created by my grandfather, and I'm the only one in the family with my first name. So
Wow.
I dare you to find another one on any platform with the same name.
Nancy, you've got it. You've got a task. Find someone with his name.
That's it. That's it. Well, we've got about 3 minutes left, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Nkiru, thank you so very much for sharing your expertise with our group today. And again, I'll be sharing this link out with everybody, you know, across our platforms and networks. I wish you much success for your upcoming event. And again, I'll be pushing that out. Anybody else have any closing remarks?
No, I thought it was good info sharing today. It was great.
All
Yep.
right.
So,
Okay. Well, y'all have a fabulous day and I will see y'all soon. Thank you very much.
See you
Right.
Friday.
bye, everyone. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Nkiru.
Bye. I'll probably see you at Venus's event.
Yeah, I'll be on there.
Okay. All right.